start recording. Literally every single week we hop on, we cover our analysis because we're preparing for the week as well. Same way as you guys, we're getting ready to take trades and just see where the markets are at. It's always good to check in. Nick and myself, we've been doing this for a long time, 3 years, something like that. We've been doing every single Sunday. I think we've missed maybe a handful of Sundays.
Yeah, here and there, a couple.
Out of the last 200 plus Sundays, we've probably missed around less than 3% of the Sundays.
Yeah, definitely. Due to holidays or, something else, no trading on the next day, extended weekends. But other than that, we're here, guys.
The dedication that you guys need every single week. Me and Nick have been here, whether we're making money or not making money. We've been here. We're on Sunday, and so should you guys. You guys should be taking this seriously. And the people that are on here, I mean, you're most likely trading with TFT. You're probably in a challenge, taking the competition, stuff like that. So feel free to post, if you guys are taking challenges right now, if you're in the competition, or maybe you're in Forex League, you're just a member and you're trying to get funded. Post where you guys are at. We're curious to know like what you guys are up to. We got everybody on the call right now, so we might as well find out. I'm gonna let Nick go ahead and share pretty much how it works is Nick's gonna break down a bunch of pairs. We'll cover some news first, and then I'll hop on and I'll do my analyses in the second part. And I'll post instructions for the giveaway inside of the chat. So I'll send it over to you, Nick.
Awesome. So let's kick it off, guys. So as Angelo said, we approach each week starting on Sunday, right? We like to analyze our watch list, come up with potential scenarios that we would like to see in the market, and then, we react accordingly. And it's a good time. It's a good idea to kind of strategize that way, right? If you're analyzing on the weekend and preparing, there's really that, emotional factor that's completely removed. And the live market's closed. You don't really have anything, weighing on you in terms of a challenge or, when to close a trade or you going to sleep or something. So it really makes a lot of sense to kind of gather all your thoughts, do some recap of the previous week, and then also, move forward and prepare for the week ahead. So we've been doing that, like Angelo said, for the past 4 years, and it's been really effective, and we've also seen that, take, other traders' progress to, new levels. Just being prepared and consistent in Forex will do wonders for your trading. So let's shift over to this week. Let's bring focus on what's ahead for us. So again, like Angelo said, the last month of the year, guys, it's flying by. We're already, moving through it. We maybe got a couple good weeks of trading left before the holidays approach. Volume starts to die down, and then we got to kind of wait for, the new year to come and, start over again. But, this week is one of those active weeks, and we want to be aware of the news like any other week, see what's in store for us. Are there any high impact events? What's going on with the dollar, what's going on with all the pairs that we're looking at. And then we could further make better decisions after, making ourselves aware of that. So let's take us through this. Monday, we got a little bit of news, some PMI out of the dollar. Probably not expecting too much impact from this, but you guys could also open this up, read these, or read pretty much the whole description, see what the previous reports were, and pretty much just get an idea as to what we could expect. Now, again, with news events, high impact news events, you're never really going to be sure what the actual number is going to come in at. You'll get the forecast, which is kind of like a consensus, a general idea as to what they think the number is going to come in at, and then what it actually comes in at compared to the forecast is what causes that short-term impact. So if we deviate from 53.5 in a negative way, you'll see a negative impact. If it deviates in a positive way, you'll see a more positive impact. Okay, that's generally how news events go. They only vary in their impact, the severity of their impact, where rate decisions will be a lot more impactful than like PMI, or CPI will be more impactful than something else than NFP at the top, right? So it's kind of our job to understand which of these are impactful and then how to trade around them, or if trading at all, like with them going on. Much like we saw with NFP, a lot of people just don't even trade Friday. So a lot of volume comes with that. So it's good to make yourself aware. If you don't make yourself aware of the news and you get hit by NFP on Friday or something, that's just a mistake that's easily avoided. There's no reason for that when you could easily open up Forex Factory, check out what's going on, and then just plan around it. All right, so that's what's going on with the rest of Monday. We got some AUD news. So cash rate, which usually gets shadowed by the RVA rate statement, Well, they'll just come on and talk about, pretty much the state of the economy. And you'll see some impact from that depending on what they're saying, right? So again, you really don't have any idea what's going to happen necessarily. So you just need to, kind of see how the impacts have been in the past, and then wait for this to hit, and then see, where you can go from there. All right, so that's Monday. Some light news, in my opinion. But let's see what Tuesday has. A little bit more of AUD news. We have the GDP for the quarter, and this is pretty much a broad gauge of their economy. So this may have some impact depending, especially if you see large fluctuations. So this is already forecasted as a negative impact. It's moving down from the previous. And you could even look at the history. You could see it's kind of been bouncing all over the place, where it's positive, negative, positive, nothing too, certain. It's not a steady number, right? So you'll probably see some fluctuation from this, at night going into the, Australian session. So be aware of that. That's Tuesday night. Could have some decent volume coming out of the Australian dollar. But let's move over to Wednesday. So 10 a.m. we got some CAD news. So Bank of Canada rate statement and the overnight rate. So this may, this may have some impact. We've actually got a lot of change in the last few months. We have quite a bit of change, right? So this may have also some impact as well. Probably not. It's probably going to be positive. We'll see. But yeah, we'll have to see. So again, some news out of the CAD. If you're trading, Aussie CAD, probably going to see some reaction, some volume on that this week. Probably going to be the, most moving, or you see the most impact on that from news. So be aware of that. And then Thursday is nothing. Friday, we're finishing off with some USD news, being PPI and consumer sentiment. Okay, so again, we could open this up if you guys just need to familiarize yourself. Open these up, read it, read this, see if you can digest it, and then take a look at this, see if you can make sense of what's been going on, how the previous versus the forecast versus the actual, and then you can maybe get, an idea how to interpret this. But again, with any news event, guys, especially if it's really impactful, you want to just avoid it, right? There's no reason that you should let a news event, mess up your trading for a certain day. All right, but yeah, so that's the news. Looking pretty all right. Mid-mild
week. You guys, sorry to interrupt, especially if you guys are on the TFT funded accounts, don't let news fuck you up. We have in the Discord a section called Trading News, and it posts all what Nick's going over right now, lets you guys know when they're coming out. So like he said, just be careful of the news, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. So with that, we made ourselves aware. That's step one. Now let's bring it over to the charts and do some TA. So I'm going to take you guys through my method. And it's pretty much, this is the method that Angelo and I teach. It's just a swing trading strategy. And I'm going to explain it in probably the simplest form, or I'm going to try my best to, all right? So overall, we're going to jump to the daily time frame and just assess the overall trend, right? So my job as a swing trader is really to just identify the overall trend, and then I'm dropping down to the lower time frame, looking for points that are either going to, continue the trend or start a new trend. So that's really all that I'm trying to capitalize on, is this, the continuation of a trend or the start of a new trend. All right, so it all starts with here on the daily. I just want to assess what the daily's been doing, what the overall movement has been for the last few months. And you can do that pretty simply with just opening up the chart, zooming out a little bit, and then just follow price action, right? We know the characteristics of a bullish trend, which are higher highs and higher lows. So this rise here is obviously very bullish until we got to the high here. And then we broke a higher low, as you can see, and we followed up with a lower low. That's the change to a downtrend, right? That's a transition where we went from bullish to bearish after we got a break of structure, and then new characteristics, right? Bearish characteristics, lower lows, lower highs. And the dollar's been falling pretty sharply. So, I mean, we would have liked to see more of a pullback, but, as of right now, it's just looking more bearish. And that's all we need to gather from the daily time frame. So we can take this information, bring it over to the 4-hour, which is going to focus on more of the price action for the week ahead. And then we're going to bring the drawing tools back on, and then just assess likely scenarios, right? Like I was saying, I'm looking for either a continuation of a trend or the start of a new one. And that's going to look pretty similar, based on my strategy and what I look for. Now, obviously, a lot of other things could happen where this could just consolidate. Neither of these two scenarios play out, but anything other than these two scenarios, I'm not really interested in, right? It's not clear. It's not supporting what I look for personally. So there's no reason to kind of highlight that or give that any more attention than you need to, right? So we can see here on the 4-hour, we're very bearish. And my first scenario is playing on a continuation of this trend, right? We just broke 105.25. I'm looking for further rejection from this area, some sort of, more significant lower high to confirm. And then I could comfortably say, hey, this chart's going to look bearish. Dollar is looking bearish for the week ahead. We confirmed it based on what I look for. And now I can, trade accordingly on, some of the tradable pairs, right? Because DXY, we don't actually trade. We use this more as an indicator. This is just showing the strength of the dollar. And we want to be aware of that because the dollar makes up for 80% of all trade. Right? Whenever the dollar is doing something crazy, you're seeing that ripple to the rest of the market, right? It's either dragging certain pairs, it's either pushing certain pairs, whatever. So the dollar is important to analyze in that sense. Okay, so this would be the clearest scenario for me to deem this, still bearish, and then, continuing to trade on other pairs with that. So this is what we're looking for. We are below 105.25. It's looking pretty good. Just need that confirmation, and then we're good, right? Dollar's bearish for the week ahead. Now, for this to be, invalid, obviously we covered the ranging scenario. Price action could obviously do that or just kind of simmer out and flatline. But for us to really look at this chart and say, hey, the dollar's bullish. It's looking bullish. All dollar pairs we're going to consider with a, bullish bias now. We would need to see truly a break above 108.5. Right, where all these lower highs are kind of broken. We're looking like we're getting a change of trend. Something significant is happening. We're getting a higher high followed by a higher low. And then only after that point, I would say that the dollar is now 4-hour bullish. Okay, because on this time frame is what I'm considering. All right, so that is obviously a long way away from happening. We've been seeing a lot of bearish pressure, and that means that it could pull back quite a bit even to this zone and still remain bearish. Okay, so this is what the idea is going into the week. We'll see what happens. It's looking pretty likely now, right? Very confident that this will play out just based on where price action is now and this little bit of a reaction, but we still need to see more. And that's just kind of how trading goes, right? So with that information, let's jump over to AUD USD, our first tradable pair, and I'm going to apply the same method, right? I'm applying the same concepts, the same assets that I'm trading. And it starts with zooming out to the daily time frame and just identifying the trend first. So what has AU been doing? Let's just start following price action from somewhere in the past. We're seeing lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows. Now we're pulling back now, right? We're pretty much in an area where we saw lower low. So this is very much a key area that we're going to get into on the 4-hour, but still overall, it's looking pretty bearish, right? We need to see reactions here. So let's go to the 4-hour now and see what we could make of this time frame. Right. So again, for me, guys, the 4-hour time frame highlights, the moves for the week ahead the best for me. Right. So I could see this move here and I could say, all right, this will pull back and it'll push up and it'll probably take anywhere from 2 to 3 days. Right. That's a swing trade for me. So I'm looking to capitalize down here, ride it for a day or two, and then close out. Right. That's generally how these analyses are presented. But I'm looking to hold them for a couple days. All right. So what has been going on here on the 4-hour? We know that this is a key area, 0.685, as we covered on the daily, right? We want to get above that to really consider the daily time frame bullish again. And the 4-hour kind of supports that. We rallied pretty hard past 0.67 to a higher high, got a higher low, and then we've been forming this bit of consolidation, kind of a wedge pattern, ascending wedge pattern. All that this is supposed to represent is consolidation. Price action is getting a little bit more narrow and could lead to, an impulse move, the next impulse move, right? Okay, I don't really use patterns as like a confirmation or anything. I really much rather use a support zone or resistance zone coupled with, a nice fib level and then some nice, candlestick setups, right? This is more a visual aid. Trend lines in general, the way I use them, whether it be in patterns or channels, it's more or less a visual aid. Okay, so we do have this, again, consolidation up here. Ideally, to get into a really nice setup on AU, I would look for a pullback back down to 0.67 and then just ride this 4-hour bullish trend back up towards resistance. And then we'd reanalyze at this point once we got up near 0.685 and then look for reactions. Either it's going to bounce or break from there. And if it breaks, that's obviously a larger time frame move as we covered. And then we could maybe, place more, setups that could play out right? Where we're looking for higher lows above that, seeing if it's going to further continue. But either way, we'd have to reanalyze once we got up to that point. All right, so this is very likely. We'll see. We'll see what happens. It could just rally through it now and validating this trade. But this in our world would be, a perfect scenario. Everything I look for when getting into a trade, this would kind of highlight. So it's a perfect scenario that I'm willing to wait for. All right, if not, then if not, I'll move on to another pair. Now, for us to look at AU and say that, hey, this is looking more bearish, let's get ready for short opportunities, we would really need to see a full break of 0.67. So price action has to drop. Pretty good volume, pushing us lower. See some sort of, push significantly below 0.67, then catch the pullback, look for the confirmed lower high, and then you could get into a short opportunity somewhere around here. Right, but that would be a very clear situation, right, guys, where we clearly break support that's holding this, all this structure here, this pattern. We move below it, outside of the trend line as well, just for an extra, visual. And then we're confirming structure below a key level, right? Everything there really suggests that this is going to drop, and it wasn't quite ready to keep pushing up. So we need to see this drop a little bit, and then we'll reanalyze once we get to the next, key level, which would be 0.655. Okay, so this one's looking pretty clear. If it does pull back, I would feel very confident in either taking this long or entering short if the price action permits it. So pretty good. I mean, I think this is looking pretty nice. We'll see what happens. Let's move over to AJ. Daily time frame, guys. Clear up the chart, and we just need to assess the trend to start here, right? So let's zoom out, and let's just follow price action. So we started rallying back here, pushed us to a high, came back down for a higher low, higher high, higher low, and then we've been consolidating, which is kind of wild. This has been happening since June 2022. We've been kind of pretty much in this area, right around 93, where it has attempts to push higher, attempts to push lower. Ultimately, we can't break 91 support. So this is interesting. Overall, we are still technically bullish, but we can see we're right at this level. So we could be seeing a potential break soon, which could change the daily trend, which is very significant. Because as you guys saw, we have a lot of room to fall, right? We rode this all the way up. We could see a big fall, down to lower support levels. So we'll see. Let's bring this over to the 4 hour though. We need to see what the potential is for this week. And let's just see what happened on the 4 hour, right? We were consolidating in this upper part between 94.5 and 93. So a lot of bouncing, a lot of strict consolidation, some news events throwing some wicks in there, real tight consolidation here. But we did see lower low after lower high after lower high, right? Until ultimately we broke 93 support, which was kind of the start of this drop here, right? It broke, pulled back for a very deep retracement. I would have much rather seen that reject off 93 rather than break it and then break back through it. So not the cleanest setup there, but still supports the overall, downtrend here on the 4 hour specifically, right? So we broke 93, shot straight to a low. We hit 91. So where do we go from here? Right, we hit 91. It's obviously bouncing a little bit. We'd like to see structure hit, which starts with 38.2, right, a fib level right here. So this would be an ideal scenario. If we pulled up a little bit more, saw some good rejection from here, this is a good confluence area. I'll highlight this as well. We have 92.25, which is our lower low over here, and then also 38.2, percent fib level. So it's good confluence. We just need to see a couple more things. Confirm lower high, and engulfing wouldn't hurt. Evening star, bearish variation, something like that coming off of this level would be good enough to then enter short on, right? Not a bad trade. We're looking to get just over 3.3 to 1, targeting 100 pips, risking 30 pips. So if I risk 1% on this, I'm getting 3.3 back. Not bad at all. And then you're just taking this trade back down towards 91 support. And then once we're there, we'll reanalyze, come up with 2 new scenarios, and then just take it one setup at a time. Okay. So for this to be invalidated and us to say that, hey, AJ is looking way more bullish, we would need to see this kind of rally now and break 93 support, just get over 93 support, see some higher lows. And that to me would say, all right, this wasn't really the true break. It didn't have enough energy to push it lower. It's going to come back and continue the overall, higher time frame bullish move, right? Where we've seen this kind of bounce off this level before. Been really struggling to break 91 support. So, that's likely too. we'll see. But it's kind of always that way until you see the, setups come to the last moment. You see those final confirmations before you get into a trade. Up until that point, you can't have too much confidence. Yes, it's setting up to what I like to see. Like at this point, it's looking like it's going to be, a 7 out of 10 trade, but we're not quite there yet. We still need to see a few more things before we're comfortable, taking some risk and actually getting into a trade. All right, so that's AJ. Let's keep it moving. We got UJ next, which is at the bottom of my watch list. Crazy volume lately, but let's do the same method. Zoom out. Okay, zoom out a little more and just follow price action here. Okay, we've been moving up. We started rallying back here in March. Crazy volume, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. And the next higher high was all the way up here. So we appreciated 13% before we got the next higher high, which is pretty insane, right? For a currency pair to move that much before forming the next, part of the leg. 70 days, 13%, 1,700 pips. That's a wild move right there. Okay, so it pushed up, right? Notice there's no structure throughout this. So we pushed all the way up, which means if you drew a fib on it, if I draw a fib, it's going to bring the tools back on. But if you did draw a fib on it, you would see that, right, this higher low here is the final stand, basically, which means you'd have to break this zone here right at 131 before we can comfortably say the daily trend is now bearish. And with that, you need structure, lower lows, lower highs, so on and so on. So that's what volume can do. It can dramatically push out your structure, right? And then your next, change of trend, right? So crazy volume. Obviously, the 4-hour is bearish. We know this. There's, tons of counter trend trades in this on the way down. But just so we're aware on the daily, this is what the reality is, right? It's bullish up until this zone is broken, really. So that's pretty wild, but doesn't do us too much good. So let's go right to the 4-hour and see what this time frame's telling us. Okay, so like we saw on the daily, crazy bearish movement where we took out support here right at 145, 145 with this descending triangle, huge drop, shot straight to a low. And then it's been consolidating a little bit. Right, we got a lower high right here, not really respecting too many zones. Kind of just formed a lower high just above 142, right? And then continued down. So a ton of consolidation there. Not really the cleanest move, but we do have a setup that, if it played out, it would look good enough to us where we would feel confident entering. And that would mean a pullback to 137, right? We want to see structure form, which is right at 38.2, good confluence area. If we did push up in such a way where we saw some nice wicks, some good rejection, maybe a nice engulfing or something, I would entertain this as a short opportunity, targeting back down towards, 131 support, which is also our negative 27% fib level, right? But again, there's so much volume here and anything can happen. This could just dump right now, in the next couple of days and just invalidate this short scenario entirely. So that's possible. Also why it's at the bottom of my watch list. Don't really like to entertain anything that's not super clear or that hasn't been forming really nice structure. So, that's kind of the deal with UJ. For us to consider this bullish, really need to break back above 140.5, right? And then we could see higher lows above that zone. And then here on the 4-hour, that would clearly be a bullish trend, right? We're breaking all this consolidation here and this lower high, seeing, characteristics of a bullish trend emerge with this higher low. And then, it's up to you if you want to take that trade. You could very well target this resistance level, maybe even higher. But, obviously this would take some time to get to that point. If we want to throw a measurement on it, just to 140.5, it's about 600 pips, right? So that'll obviously take some time to play out, right? So volume really skews things sometimes, guys. It takes the longer a leg runs, the longer it's going to take before you can see the next point of structure, right? Or the next retrace or, whatever. You want to find somewhere in the middle. Too much volume is bad. Too little volume is bad. Somewhere in the middle is the sweet spot. And that's really where you want to zone in and focus on. All right, so let's keep it moving. Let's jump over to EJ. So I'm actually in this trade and I'm going to cover it in a second, but let's just not get ahead of ourselves. Let's stick to the process, zoom out to the daily and just follow price action, right? So What do we notice? Huge rally here back in March. Let's start from there and just keep following it. So we got a higher high, higher low, higher high, whoop, higher high, higher low. Then we matched the high and then we broke the higher low. So we actually had a trend change right here. We went from bullish to bearish. Then we started seeing lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower high right here. Then that was broken. So we're back to bullish and we're seeing higher highs, higher lows again, higher highs. And now, we're seeing a bit of consolidation. We're seeing a higher low and this looks like it's breaking it, right? Could be breaking it. We've yet to see, the next lower high after the break. So it's kind of too soon to tell, but we need to drop to the 4-hour now. And this is where we can confirm things. Okay, so let's go to the 4-hour. So what's happening, right? So it's looking like it's getting ready to go bearish out on the daily. And then we need to see if the 4-hour kind of, lines up with that as well, lines up with that idea. Let's just square things up. All right, so 143, this is the zone that we just broke, and we're looking for lower highs below this. Is this going to confirm and then, send us lower? It's ideally what we're looking for after all this consolidation. So really could reject right now. We're in the spot where we want to see these confirmations. Right? We want to see the conviction right now. This is honestly in the next, maybe 3-4 candles, 2-3-4 candles, you could see this start to, execute, start heading back lower. And then you do have an opportunity to enter there right off 61.8, which would be perfect. According to my strategy, at least, be a 10 out of 10 trade if you do see a nice evening star, bearish variation, something like that, coming off this level. And then you have a good trade, right? We're looking to get 420. Roughly, your stop loss is going to be about 150. It'll vary slightly, 120-ish you could probably get away with. And then that'll bring you to just around a 3-to-1. So again, if you're risking 1%, you'll get 3 back. If you're risking 2%, you'll get 6. So a really phenomenal trade, honestly. I personally, just so you guys know, I won't take a trade unless it's at least 2-to-1. So again, risking 1%, getting 2% back. Right, so this one clearly exceeds that. So it's looking good. Right, I took the trade over here off this engulfing. It was a quick retest. So I had entered right here. And then on Friday, I became risk-free, meaning I moved my stop loss to break even. I actually posted about it on IG if you guys saw. And it did come up a little bit. I decided to hold it, still holding it. I have nothing to lose on it. So I'm not sweating at all with whatever happens. Because if I get stopped out, I know I'll have a potential re-entry opportunity. And if it drops now, it's a good move. It's an active trade. It's just nothing but profit at that point. So I'm going to wait and see how this one plays out. We'll see. Maybe we'll get a re-entry. Maybe we'll get stopped out. Doesn't really matter. But yeah, this is the idea. So we're looking to go short. Now, if this breaks back above 143, I want to see a higher low confirmed to say, then to me, it'll say, all right, this trade was completely invalid. It was not the true break. It was not ready to go short. The bulls are still very much present. And then we could maybe even switch our bias and start looking for long scenarios. Okay, so that's EJ. We'll see how it reacts. We'll see how it plays out. But yeah, it's looking pretty good as of right now. So we'll see. That's EJ. Let's take this over to gold. And this is going to be, wow, it's pushing up already. This is going to be the final asset that I analyze for you guys. And then I'm going to pass it off to Angelo. But same thing with gold. I apply the same method, right? Let's just find the overall trend. And I know gold like the back of my hand. So since we broke 1920, we've been bearish all the way back here in April. Started seeing some lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs. And then we started bottoming out. Got these 3 lows here, triple bottom, whatever you want to call it, right? Then we saw a rally, which broke, you guessed it, this lower high. So that's a trend change. And we actually followed it up with a higher low as well. You guys see that? How this is resistance right here because of this lower high, and then we broke it. Boom, that's a trend change. So the daily is looking bearish now, and we're actually right around the 1800 level, which has historically been a very significant level. I'm just zooming out. This crosshair line is right at 1800. Look how many areas that crosses. Look at all those reactions. Right, it even goes back further, but historical level, 1800. So we're really interested to see how that reacts. This is our time to drop to the 4-hour and see what's going on here. Okay, so here is where the trend change actually took place, right at 1735. I could draw this over. Right, this is the lower high here that was broken. Price action rallied through it, came back very nicely, gave us a really good double bottom while simultaneously confirming this higher low. Right, and then you had some entries on here, a nice bullish variation. maybe even another entry somewhere in here on a lower time frame. Some nice engulfings probably present. Nice little tweezer bottom. So definitely moved up, but we're at the high, right? We're at 1800. So where do we go from here? Right? It's going to do one of two things, right? It's either going to blow through 1800 to start pushing up now, which really doesn't give us any trade opportunity, or it's going to reverse and start heading lower for the next, high or low, or just a retest of 1735, which would be much more favorable to us, right? Because then we have two scenarios, right? There's a lot of volume here between 1800 and 1735. It's about 700 pips roughly, right? So that's a retrace that we'd be potentially interested in getting in on. So if this does start to consolidate a little bit and then starts pushing lower, you're going to want to drop to the 1 hour or 30-minute. Try to identify a 30-minute or 1 hour bearish trend that you're going to ride into 1735 support. And then you're going to call the trade there, reanalyze, see how it's going to react there. It's either going to break or bounce. And then you switch your bias. Ride the overall bullish trend that we just established out right on the daily. And then you could catch a nice move back up towards 1800. So this is a 4-to-1. This is probably going to be even more than a 4-to-1. I didn't mark it up. But let's say you got something like this. Right, you're going to be looking at, it would need to be, well, let me just draw this in so it's more clear. Got a level there. And we want to see a break below that. Again, there's going to be lower time frame stuff. So on the 1 hour right now, all we need to find is lower hour or 1 hour lower highs or 30-minute lower highs to confirm a 30-minute or 1 hour bearish trend. And all we're looking to get is to 1735. So you would take the trade somewhere in here. Stop loss above it. Target down towards 1735, as we said. And it's also looking like it's over a 4-to-1. So if this does play out, pushes down 4%, up 4%. Not bad. Either way you cut it. But, in a perfect world, this is how price action would play out. We have to see if it's going to. I'm not really, it's too soon to tell anything yet. We simply have to wait. All right. But yeah, that's what we're looking at. Reactions from 1800 in that way. Could catch a short. Ultimately looking for structure down here and continuation of the trend back up. All right. So that's pretty much it for me, guys. Wow, that was a long time. I'm going to pass it off to Angelo. These are all posted in Telegram and Discord. So you guys, what is going on here? Whoa. You there, Angelo?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, it was handled. It was like 1 minute.
All right, cool. I wasn't looking at chat. I was looking at charts.
Yeah,
Thank
you
God.
guys got a little sneak preview tonight of the fucked up people on the internet.
Yeah, jeez. Must be
Yeah, I guess somebody joined and then since they could share, they like shared and some people viewed his screen and then he was like showing porn or something.
Oh my God, it's another guy.
Like,
This is definitely
and then I love the
somebody's
one guy in the chat. He's like, I didn't see it. It's like, dude.
yeah.
Like,
Right.
I think he was joking, but
I don't know. I mean, there's another guy right now.
yeah,
Some of you guys are sick.
dude, literally insane.
But anyway, back to focusing on the analysis. Yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. It's posted in Telegram and Discord if you want. It's definitely helpful to some people if you want to compare it to your own charts, see if it kind of lines up with what you're looking at. Use it as another type of indicator or tool. But yeah, guys, thanks again.
Word. I'm gonna hop on in a second, guys. In the meantime, the giveaway is gonna be just while I'm going on my screen. Some of you have already done it. Just post on your IG story, tag the funded trader, tag Forex League, repost us. We're gonna go after this. I'm gonna look and see who posted us. Then one person's gonna win the giveaway. We do it every single week. So make sure you guys get involved. I know it's why most of you guys are here. So make sure you guys take advantage of it. So I'll go ahead, share my screen. Can you guys see? Oh my God, somebody's doing it again.
That's what I was saying. This Joseph Hopkins guy.
Let me see. I don't know why though. It should be one participant.
It's just we got to ban all video, I guess.
Oh, he shared his he
Yeah, it's
shared
like
his
his
video and
camera.
was streaming it.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my god, that's crazy. Hold on, let me see. I can turn off all video. There we go.
Real.
Lessons learned. We had some some terrible interference in the chat. I apologize, guys. Let me report these guys. All right, we're good. All right, you guys see my screen?
Yeah, you're good to go.
All right, cool. Someone said, "What's Nick's IG handle?" It's Nick Dark FX.
Oh, I didn't see that. Here we go.
Yeah, I'll throw it in
I'll
the
type
chat
it
for
in.
you guys. All right, so what we're gonna start doing is I've got the funded trader. I've got an account logged in, so I'm on the MetaTrader portal. If you guys have not used this before, highly recommend, especially on mobile. On mobile, it's like super clutch. It's basically like having MT4 downloaded on your phone. Desktop looks like this. So if you guys, can't download MT4, MT5 for whatever reason, just go into the trade hub. You guys can literally trade in here. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna run through analysis for the week. If I see any trades, we're gonna put it on the account. We're gonna see how it goes. First, we're just gonna hop in the DXY. We're gonna go over what the hell is going on with DXY. So as we have been looking, it's in a downtrend, right? Going all the way up to the weekly. DXY has clearly been in a downtrend. Let's go ahead and just get this centered. And let's go ahead and bring this on. All right, so we came up to the 112, 300 area. If we just zoom out, this area is based on resistance, support. So you could say this is like a really big liquidity area that previously acted as resistance or support. And as you can see here, we came up, had resistance, bearish engulfing. Now we dumped. Now we're back at the next level. So this level is based on support here, resistance there, although this is very minor. And then going back even further, we had support here, we had resistance here. And then we could go all the way back, support here, resistance there. So, or actually down here, resistance here, resistance here. So this is a key level that we're seeing. Let's go ahead and get back to where we're at. As you can see, a lot of selling pressure right now. DX dollar is very bearish. It's certainly already reversed this whole uptrend right here. But at the same time, we're always just looking at the weekly levels. Where are we potentially finding our next level support? And I had placed it in here, 104, 300. If you guys go back, watch the last couple of Sunday market blitzes, we've just been talking about the dollar hitting this level, 104 area, getting into this liquidity zone because we already rejected this upper one. So what are we going to do now? I hadn't mapped this out where once price reaches this zone, we get some sort of rejection to the downside, we form support, break to the upside, retest, then we start to go long. Clearly it's not happening yet, so we're just gonna take this off. But we are in our zone. We're right where we want to be right now. We've got that lower high, we've got this lower high, right? So price is it's just in a downtrend right now. And if price ends up following trend, it could see something like this and then like this. So I'm just forecasting an idea right now because I'm personally waiting until price actually does confirm below this significant level of support before actually considering being bearish on this, because this is a very significant level of support right here. So let's just keep this in mind for the week. Again, DXY definitely bearish, definitely has an opportunity to reverse at this level. If it just smashes through here, then we're just going to see it continue to collapse to the downside. So let's get into, we always cover Nas last. So let's just get into GJ first. We'll cover this one. So last week we had a breakdown where overall we were in this like downtrend, this reversal. Let's just come up to the weekly and see where we're at in the weekly time frame. So let's go over last week's idea. Generally, GJ's in an uptrend, right? We have this trend going to the upside. Zooming in a bit more, we're at the significant level of support at this point, 165 area, 164. So we broke above support or resistance right here, formed a new high, we retested. If we zoom in, we have this bullish engulfing right here. Then price pushed up. And this is right where we were at last week. So generally our idea was we're bullish, right? Weekly's bullish. Let's wait till the 4-hour lines up. And as we came to the 4-hour time frame, right on the call last week, it was pretty much right here. This is where we were on the call last week. So let's go ahead and bring it back. We were pretty much saying, all right, since the 4-hour doesn't line up with the weekly time frame yet, let's actually wait until price reaches this red zone before looking for buys again. And we were looking to enter on a retest of the previous support level 167,500 area. So if we go ahead and just play this forward, price came damn near close. Like if you had put a limit order, I think it came very close to hitting this order, and then came down, came up, and then came up for a retest. So it almost hit again that area, and then it finally came down. So now we're in this red zone right here. We're forming lower lows and lower highs. We just go ahead and take this off, take all this off right now. So again, we want the weekly to line up with the 4-hour time frame. And what we would need to see is we would need to see now a breakout of this. We'd have to see this previous lower high. We'll just go with this one. We would have to see this actually break. So let's go ahead and adjust this a little bit. This would be our more ideal position. So price breaks the previous lower high. We have a retest right here, and then we can go back up to the weekly time frame and start to go with targets. Now on the downside, same thing as DXY. If this thing continues to just have bearish pressure here, we're just going to look for a continuation of this overall trend here. So let's just drag this across. So we're just keeping it simple here. If this is going to continue to the downside, we're just going to keep looking to enter at the lower high points. This would be a really good area to enter at. And then if price does actually manage to break and line back up, because remember, this is technically a counter trend trade on the weekly time frame, because weekly, we don't want to get fooled here, even though we just formed this engulfing. This is still in an uptrend, you know, until this level completely snaps and trend breaks, until trend truly does transition to the downside, the weekly is still in the uptrend. So coming back down to the 4-hour again, let's go ahead and zoom out a little bit. So it looks like 4-hour time frame, we'd have some divergence between the weekly breaking trend, and then we'd have the 4-hour lower high. So this would be a very high probability area to take a short. But again, we're just forecasting. There's no trade right now. I'm not personally shorting this right now. You really could. Like you could take a short now. If you had a seller's more of a selling bias right now, you could take a short and then just start to target. We'd have to look at targets, but you could just start to target to the downside. I look at this area as a support area, so I'm not shorting it until it actually breaks that zone. But yeah, that's pretty much my analysis on GJ. Where do you post your weekly analysis? I used to post it in the Forex League Discord and Telegram. I just don't have that much time anymore to post the analysis. If anything, if you guys want to see analysis, just hop on this session, because every week I do the breakdown on here, and this is recorded as well. So, you know, definitely just hop on, review it, whatever, make sure you guys check it out. But I don't have it actually posted or published anymore. We're just going on here. Let's see, but Nick does post his inside of the Telegram, so make sure to check that out. So going over to NZD USD, very interesting. So let's talk about some hypotheticals here, because this is the same idea that we just went over with GJ. Is NZD USD came up to a resistance zone, right? We were looking at the weekly time frame, which is this is a lower high area on the weekly. We were looking for reversal in this zone, and then as you can see, we established support above this red zone. So this was technically a good buying opportunity right here. We had mapped it out for price to break down and not take shorts all the way until this area once it actually broke out of the uptrend. But this just continued with the uptrend. So we're just going to go ahead and remove this. We'll go ahead and remove this. And then let's just go ahead and let's trace out this trend right here. So we already have this area. So we just have higher high, we have this double top, we have this new higher low, and now this is where we're at. So let's come up to the weekly. Where's this thing out on the weekly time frame? So weekly time frame, we're approaching really this supply zone right here. So weekly, you can clearly see, anyone with eyes can see it's in a downtrend. Lower low, lower high. We have this lower low. Now we're coming back to the supply zone. If we were to zoom out, notice how I don't have any of my red zones up here because we weren't above that area. I like to just keep everything as clean as possible. So now that we have made it above this area, let's go ahead and you guys can see how I map out one of my zones. I just zoom out and I try to just see what is the most obvious area where price has acted with resistance and has acted as support. I'm not trying to solve the world's biggest problems here. I'm just trying to look, where has the market acted with support and acted as resistance? You can clearly see in these areas, the market has rejected all the way back to this area. So what does that tell me? You know, I don't do this, but I'm just doing this for the sake of the call. That tells me that this is an area of resistance. And you can go crazy with adjusting it, right? We could zoom in a little bit. We can start to, I like to adjust it more according to current price action. So we have resistance over here. We have support right over here, resistance right there, support there. So I'm going to move it up just slightly. So this is my next area of resistance on the weekly time frame. This is very important to understand on the weekly where areas where we could have potential reversal. And look where we're at. We're right in that area of resistance where price has previously rejected with a ton of volatility. Granted, the dollar would have to turn bullish for this to really happen. Notice how weak the dollar has been. And it lines up with NZD USD shooting to the upside. Dollar would have to break down, but I'm always trying to catch this reversal coming to the 4-hour. Again, when would I actually take a trade on this? Let's just go ahead and forecast an idea, because for a swing trade, this isn't in an ideal spot right now to take a swing trade. So we'd have to see something like this. Price starts to find resistance in this zone. Then we have a little breakdown. And then price starts to move to the downside. We could even take off. We have this little mini trend now that's forming up here. So price would have to start to break down and shift back to the downside. And this would be, again, most ideal area. This doesn't mean this is going to be the area to enter that we enter at, but this would be the most ideal area when it actually turns over, breaks trend, breaks structure, everything like that. This would definitely be the best area to enter on. So to the flip side, right? What if the dollar continues to just be bearish, right? Continues to just go to the downside? When would I actually start to take buys on this? Well, I would have to assess, you know, what is the actual next area of resistance? And that would be up in this zone. So that's where I would be trying to swing trade it into 0.653. We could see we've got some news coming out this week, like Nick just went over. So I wouldn't actually take this trade. This range is like 100 pip range right here. I wouldn't actually take this swing trade unless we get another candle to close above this area and then a little retest, and we go to the upside. So always like to plan out 2 scenarios when I'm looking at pairs. And then for NZD USD, this right here is the 2 scenarios. It's more likely that it's going to continue to be bullish as long as DXY is bearish, but notice they're both in those critical zones right now where reversal could happen, and it could happen very aggressively, right? Could happen very sharply. So let's keep an eye out for that. So USD CAD, let's go ahead and take this off. So last week, let's just go back to where we were at. So we were right here is when we were on the call last week. And we were pretty much just mapping out this to continue to go to the upside. Kind of strange because, you know, the dollar has been bearish. And if we go up to the weekly is bullish on USD CAD. Granted, last couple weeks definitely pushed down, but now we're getting some support in there. So coming back to the 4 hour, this is what the idea that I'd given you guys on the call last week. Break to the upside, right? And we were looking for it to continue. And this is where we're currently at right now. You know, does this look like it's going to continue to the upside? You guys tell me. Obviously, there was this potential buy right here where it broke, boom, and then it shifted. Ended up going up like 200 pips, but that's not really the trade that we were looking for in this scenario. And it didn't carry a lot of steam. And now what we're looking at is something a bit different. We're looking at potential head and shoulders pattern right here. Granted, not the greatest in the world, actually. So it's not lining up that well since this right shoulder is a little bit lower, but you guys can see the general idea is we have this left side, we have the head, and now we're having this lower high form on the right side of this trend. So if price breaks this level right here, this is just generally this area, and it starts to do one of these, you know, we have a breakdown, boom, you know, where is price going to go to? Back up to the weekly time frame. There's a lot of room to fall, right? There's this area right here, and then there's this support level all the way down here. So we're about 160 pips away from that lower zone right there. And that's most likely what we're going to see. You know, if the dollar continues to be bearish, this is most likely going to just push to the downside. On the flip side, when would I actually take a little buy on this? I'd be looking for something like this, price to squeeze in this area, ultimately break resistance, and then I'd be looking for it to move to the upside. So I'd be looking for something like this, break of this resistance level, retest right there, and then move to the upside. So these are two valid trade ideas for this week. If you guys are struggling with coming up with an idea for USD CAD, look out for this bearish or bullish signal. There's nothing, it's unfortunate because we're not at a position where we can put like a limit order on this. It's still got to break to either side, but you guys can see, you know, patience is the game here. We don't want to rush this and take a trade that we're going to regret. So that's USD CAD. Coming over to GU, weekly time frame. Let's go ahead and balance this out. So GU has been on the comeback, you know, after this huge candle here, almost a 4.5% candle. Things have been just pushing to the upside. Let's go ahead and take this off. And let's kind of see like where the hell are we at? Let's go ahead and delete some of these zones. Let's just clear some of this stuff up. That's what I like when there's a lot of movement. We can see last week we were looking for it to continue to be bullish, ended up being bullish. Let's just go up to the weekly time frame and see like where the hell are we at? And this thing clearly marked this level, as we all know, 1.05. And since then it's been on a mission. It's been increasing in value significantly. Literally since that point, it has increased in value by 15%, which is pretty nuts. Now, again, looking at like where are our levels, this was a previous lower high point right here. This is a previous lower low point right there. This is definitely an area that's of major resistance or major support. As you guys can tell, the reason I'm so confident in these areas is look how price rejects here and then moves 15% to the downside. Even here, like it doesn't move that significantly, but it moves to the upside at least 3%. Right. So this is a significant area. And then we could go back further and we could even look at previous history to see how price zooms off this level before. So this is definitely a significant area that I want to monitor. And we've broken out, you know, we've broken above this area. So unless this weekly turns south and just plummets, right? Like unless the dollar really gains strength and starts to push to the downside, GU, you know, we should be being patient on this. We should be looking for setups, higher lows to the upside, right? This is the level. 1-2-2. If you guys don't know what to look for on GU for this week, look at 1-2-2. If it breaks that level, sure. If it stays above here, buy, right? This is the level to monitor. It's key. If you know what levels are the significant levels, it's makes your life that much easier. Granted, will it play out 100% of the time? No, but very high percent of the time it will. So GU, if I go up to the weekly, and right now we're currently in the process. Granted, this is the weekly, so it takes a long time to play out. We're in the process of testing this resistance right here. We've yet to close above. See how this is just clearly a downtrend? And then this broke out, and now we're floating to the upside. We're yet to close above, though, this major level. Now, we're going to do this, right? For the sake of getting some action for this week, this isn't a terrible trade idea. This isn't an uptrend. Weekly has been very bullish. What is a potential trade idea? You could take a buy, right? You could set a limit order in this area. This is support area. You could also set it a bit lower if you want to set in like a demand zone. Come up to the weekly time frame. Where's our targets going to be on this one? This is the next resistance level up in this area. Let's come back down. So what does that leave us with? If we're targeting, that's like a 400 pip swing trade. This is a 4-to-1 risk reward trade. If we get this to execute, we could even bring it up just because the risk reward is that great. We'll bring up our entry point. This is a good area. There's support previously right there. This is a really good area to enter on. So this is at 1.222. Let's go ahead and just copy this. We'll see. We'll see if price can actually make it back down into this zone. This is going to be GU. Let's go ahead and do a buy limit. At 1-2-2-3. See if we got the right level. Yeah. And then we'll do take profit. Look at that website, thing of beauty. We'll do take profit at this level. And then we'll do stop level. Right here. All right, and then volume. This is a 300K account. So guys, remember to always use a lot size calculator, no matter what. This is a reason why we got to add this to the dashboard. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm just gonna pull one up.
It's needed.
Yeah, it is. I mean, granted, I'm literally having to go to my phone to do one.
Yep.
Let's see. Currency, we're gonna do USD. So this is a 300K account. We're gonna do, come back over here. And for you guys that are like, oh, 100 pip stop loss, you suck, whatever. It's a swing trade. It's a swing trade. We're using the 4-hour time frame. You know what I'm saying? Know your situation here. We're not scalping at the moment.
And on top of that, it's a fixed percent that he's risking, right? Which means the lot size is going to vary based on the amount of pips for your stop loss.
Well said. All right, so we got the order in, and we're gonna start doing this. We're gonna see how things play out each week. So we can see here we've got our little limit order in here. We got our stop loss. All right, we're good. All right, so let's come back over here. This is again GU. Let's go to NAS 100. This thing has been on a fucking tear. Like last week. Let's come back to where we're on the call right here last week. Coming up. Let's go to the weekly. See how it's respecting this red zone, right? See how it was respecting this red area. That was our resistance level, right? On the weekly time frame, we're in a downtrend. Granted, we just had this huge bullish engulfing, right? This thing's wild. But we were starting to hit some resistance there. So coming to the 4 hour, these were the ideas for last week, right? See how we're rejecting. We're looking to either come up for another retest and look to short, or this thing breaks to the upside and we look to buy. So we're currently in scenario number 2. We broke to the upside. This is technically an area to buy at. Am I going to buy here? No. Why? Because look at these, the formation of these candles. Large wick. This is a bearish. Like, we're still in a downtrend right here on the 30-minute, on the 1 hour time frame. Like, if we come to the 30-minute, clearly it's in a downtrend, right? So we need to, like, 1 hour downtrend. So we need to wait for this one to actually show us a reversal. But this is the idea, right? To buy in this area, the big comeback, NAS 100, the fucking old reliable. We'll see if the US economy can come back, which it always does. But there's a lot of things that influence this. I was listening to something over the weekend. They were talking about how the Fed, the rates, they're starting to lower the amounts they're hiking it by, which should start to slow the stock market. Like, the stock market should continue to correct, but we're in the process. We're in like the middle stages of this whole thing. Eventually, they'll pause the rate hikes, and then eventually they'll start to drop the interest rate, and then that's when the market will end up probably reversing. People will have access to more of their money. Inflation will come down. They'll have more money to spend, more money to invest, shit like that. So yeah, we're in the midst of it. You know, will NAS 100 continue to recover? We will see. We will see. 4 hour time frame again. We're just going on TA right now. We're not considering like crazy fundamentals. But it has broken to the upside. So we'll see on this one. That's NAS 100. Last but not least, old reliable number 2, or should I say the fucking beast, BTC. Thing has been taking a beating, right? It's been taking a beating. We've been following this. You guys know the strategy. Just continue to throw all my money into this until I go broke. So we currently have about 200K in BTC. We're going to continue to buy here. We're going to buy down here. And if all goes well, if BTC comes up and hits 100K, which is what all the experts say, right? All the guys, all the crypto millionaires, they say it's going to hit 100K. We'll see what happens and put my money on it. So if it does, we'll have 255. We'll turn to 1.2 mil. Talk about risk reward, guys. You guys are talking about fucking pips on a swing trade, right? So,
oh yeah, that's good return right there.
We'll see what happens here. We'll see what happens. This is the granddaddy of them all, BTC USD. It's currently called the comeback strategy. We've been, originally it was the McDonald's strategy. Now it's the comeback strategy. I think next time there'll be a new name for this, but that's pretty much it. So BTC, we'll see if we can make $1 million on it. We'll see.
Yeah, and it's been covered in depth every week. So when it does play out, it was called here.
Wow. Let's see.
Yeah, they said the pass was shown.
Oh, the MT. Oh, fuck. You guys can log in my account, take trades, blow it. It's all good.
Yeah, it's really a test to see who's morally sound, guys. That's
Someone goes, no way you could steal the CEO's password.
Yeah, it's like stealing Elon on Twitter.
Yeah, log in, guys.
Have
Whoever
fun.
logs in, we'll grab your IP address and we'll just fucking nuke you. You got accounts running. Good luck. That's it. No, this is just for fun, guys. I mean, I'm just gonna take some trades on here. If someone wants to log in and spoil it, I mean, screw you. But
yeah,
that's it.
Well said. And that's it. Get nuked. But yeah, that wraps it up, guys. Another week to look forward to. Always a pleasure. The Sunday session. Always a good time.
Yeah, another week, like Nick said. Best of luck to all of you guys. Giveaway will be picked. A lot of updates out in the Discord, so hop in there, guys. And best of luck. We'll see you guys next week. And thanks for hopping on. Peace out.
Absolutely. Peace, guys.